Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, or Tank12, having to call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks. Today, it's just a gameplay, no review. We're playing the Panther 88, one of those tier 8 premium tanks that are still in the game, but probably should be overhauled by I don't even know, a whole team, that they really get this tank into a state where it's more enjoyable than it is currently in. We're playing on the map Ghost Town with a couple of tier 9 tanks and mostly tier 8s. And, look at the Panther 88. It is a medium tank, at least it's designated as a medium tank, and it's about 3 times as big as the Brusque, which is also a medium tank. But, yeah, today's gameplay, you can see we're playing Ghost Town, and this is one of those maps that I think is mostly very awkward to play, especially when the team doesn't really know what they're doing. You guys know sometimes there are just these games where everything works, everything just functions. You have like the feeling, you have great chemistry, your team is just doing work, you're doing work, you survive just by the hair of it because you also get lucky. And it's one of those awesome experiences, that the experiences we live for in World of Tanks. Yeah, this game is not it. This game is certainly not that type of experience. We're playing with tier 9 tanks, but mainly tier 8s, and we are the only vehicle currently sitting on the 1-2 line. And there are 3 artillery pieces on both sides. 2 of them tier 9, that is quite horrendous, and then 1 tier 8. And you guys know that when you're playing a Panther 88, as tall as this one, a tank as big as a Panther 88, you'll know that you're going to be a main target. Now the Panther 88, what makes it horrible? Well, it's very big, doesn't have any armor, it's slow to boot, like 46 kilometers per hour top speed, and if you give it the turbo on top, you get to 51 kilometers per hour. But the entire horsepower to weight ratio is horrible, so your engine is just not very good. At the same time, you do have 1,500 HP, that for a tier 8 premium medium tank is quite a lot, but since you're this big, you have an 88mm gun that kind of has a nice rate of fire, but kind of is really weird when you're playing it, because sometimes it doesn't work. It's quite accurate. But yeah, it's a weird tank, a lot of people dislike it, and there's a reason why it has the lowest win rate at tier 8, one of the lowest win rate at tier 8. The Pershing is also in the same category, I think 43% on server average, and this one is like 44% if I recall correctly. But I've already completely ignored like a major incident in this game. You could see that we were fighting a Leopard prototype A and a Type 59 while artillery was raining down on us. The M53 hit us once. We were splashed once or twice by the other, the FV, the British tier 9 artillery piece. And that's going to be one of those things that's going to happen. And what you can see immediately if you take a look at the map, nothing is going to go our way. This is just one of those games where you notice and you realize very early on that this is not going to be a win. The only thing you can do is just, get as much damage as you can, and you kind of feel helpless in this situation because you're just waiting for the game to end, basically. And it's not even like right now we have about 3 minutes played and the game has already been decided, because what you can see down at the bottom of the minimap is the K line is very crowded. We have a Brusque, we have a G-Sor, we have a Lorraine 40T, we have a Stritzwagen, we have 3 artillery pieces, everyone is hugging that line, and we're losing tanks left, right, and center. It probably had something to do with the fact that our heavy tanks chose a very interesting route. They went right through the middle. They didn't even go to the right side of the middle. They went right through the middle, and they were obviously wiped out very quickly by a crossfire. Actually, from like 3 sides. because the TNH 105 also could shoot them. They were shot at from A4. They were shot at from the guys hiding at D4 and D5, and then they were flanked by the guys at E6. And now, obviously, if you play like that, you need a hell of a lot more tanks in the middle, and you need to secure those routes. But back to our task at hand, just getting as much damage as we can. You can see the game is just about to be finished very quickly. And I chose this gameplay to just really talk about the fact that in current World of Tanks, the games last no longer than about 4 minutes. Because this game was decided at minute 2, very, very quickly. And I'm not blaming anyone on my team. I'm not blaming the lack of skill or the positioning. It's just the fact that there's so many different variables that come together. It just feels that the game gets very quickly overwhelmed by these variables, and that one single thing can really flip the entire game. Now, if we would have looked at the lineup, I wouldn't have expected us to do that bad. We had a TheFrXion 103, we had a T30, both very good tanks, especially in the city. You could use the T30, and also the A Phase 1. And the interesting part is, at the end of the battle screen, I did manage to do most damage in this tank. I did about 3,400 damage with a Panther 88, and you can see that in close quarter combat, as long as the enemy is not really shooting you, I mean, you can really dish out the damage. The accuracy is top notch for a medium tank, certainly. The rate of fire is really great as well, and the only downside that you have is you're a huge target for artillery. But basically, that's where we end up. We die. I thank the artillery for splashing the TNH because that splash and the track allowed me to actually get into position to kill him. So I was still able to do 3 kills in the end and get about 3,400 damage and an additional 788 damage assisted. But yeah, it's a very frustrating thing to do right now, to play certain tanks that are not very good. There's a reason why not a lot of players are currently playing certain vehicles in the game, such as the Panther 88, such as the M46 Pat in Korea, where I have a 3 mark on. Also, the Muts, these tanks just don't really... They have their moments, but those moments are very far and rare. And it's very crazy to see these games being decided so early on in the game. I think it's a bit of the problem that Wargaming sees, that these games are going very quickly. They're going way too fast. And Wargaming, I think they just don't really know how to extend these playtimes. Because right now, when you're playing World of Tanks, the maps are kind of small, especially for the mobility certain tanks have. But if you make the maps bigger, certain vehicles that do not have any mobility are going to be even further away. Especially tank destroyers that really do not like to move away from the one line. These guys kind of just, they're just going to be sitting at the very far end of a map. They're not going to be moving anywhere. And I think that's going to be a very difficult thing to do. But definitely, the gameplay experience in this current situation is just not very good. It's very lacking, and it feels either like you rush people, you vanquish them completely, roll over them, or on the other side, you get completely rolled. There's kind of no in between. The battles where it lasts longer, where you have real fights until like the 15-minute mark, those are really rare and far in between. I would like to see them much more, and I think the balance of the game currently is extremely all over the place. That's probably one of the reasons why there's a lot of disdain with World of Tanks and with the gameplay. But yeah, that was the Panther 88. It still works if you are able to shoot tanks, but it certainly does not have a place in this game. Same with the Panther 2. I like that tank, but also a very difficult tank to play effectively. So I hope you guys did enjoy. As always, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, have a good one.